Hello, so today we are going to talk about TikTok, an app that over 170 million Americans use to share videos, learn new things, and connect with each other. For a while now there has been a big debate about this app. The United States government is worried because TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is based in China. The concern is that the Chinese government could potentially access American user data or influence what people see on the app. This has led to a long and complicated situation, full of deadlines and political discussions that can be hard to follow. On June 19, 2025, President Donald Trump made a new decision. He signed an executive order that gave TikTok more time to figure out its future in the United States. This was not the first time a deadline was extended. In fact, it was the third extension since President Trump began his new term in January. This action is part of a larger effort to find a solution that satisfies national security experts without completely banning an app that has become a huge part of American culture and commerce, especially for the 7.5 million US businesses that use it. What does this new deadline mean for you if you use TikTok? The new date to watch is September 17, 2025. By then, TikTok must have a plan in place that meets the US government's security requirements. The good news for users is that the app will continue to work normally for now. You can still post videos, scroll through your For You page, and interact with creators. The goal of this extension is to avoid a sudden shutdown, which would disrupt the lives and businesses of millions of people who depend on the platform for income, community, or simply entertainment. This whole situation started because of a law passed by Congress. That law said TikTok had to be sold to a non-Chinese company by the middle of January 2025. For about 12 hours on January 19th, the app was even banned from app stores. But then, President Trump intervened with his first extension. He has often talked about how he uses the platform to reach young voters, and his administration seems to be looking for a middle path. They want to protect American data, while also allowing the app to remain popular and accessible to its users. To solve this problem, ByteDance is working on a very ambitious project. They are building a brand new version of TikTok that is designed only for the United States. This project has a codename M2. The idea is to create a separate TikTok ecosystem just for American users. This would mean that the app's core functions, especially its famous algorithm that recommends videos, would be housed within the United States. This new version is supposed to have its own infrastructure and follow strict American rules for data security and privacy. The plan is to launch this special M2 version of the app by September 5, 2025, which is just before the new government deadline. If the launch is successful, it would represent a huge technical achievement. ByteDance hopes this will prove to the US government that it is serious about protecting user information. Creating a separate version of such a complex app is not easy. It involves separating huge amounts of code and data while making sure the user experience still feels like the TikTok everyone knows and loves. If M2 is successful, what happens to the TikTok app you have on your phone right now? The plan includes a long transition period. The current version of TikTok would continue to work for users in the United States until March 2026. This would give everyone plenty of time to switch over to the new US-specific app. The goal is to make the change as smooth as possible so that users and creators don't lose their content, followers, or the communities they have built on the platform over the years. It is very important to understand that these changes are only for the United States. TikTok would continue to operate as it always has in the rest of the world. This strategy is an attempt by ByteDance to keep its valuable American market while also following the specific and demanding rules set by the US government. The success of M2 is critical for the company. It is their best hope to avoid a complete sale of their US operations or an outright ban that would cut them off from millions of users. Creating a new version of TikTok is a huge challenge, but the technical part is not the only obstacle. The biggest problem might be getting approval from two different governments, the United States and China. The US government needs to be convinced that the new M2 system is completely secure and free from any potential foreign influence. At the same time, the Chinese government has its own rules about exporting technology, and they have the power to block the deal if they are not happy with it. One of the most valuable parts of TikTok is its recommendation algorithm. This is the secret recipe that decides which videos you see, and it is what makes the app so addictive and personalized. The Chinese government considers this algorithm to be sensitive technology. For any sale or restructuring to happen, Beijing must approve the transfer of this core technology. This was a major reason why a previous deal to sell TikTok's US operations collapsed in April 2025, showing just how difficult these international negotiations can be. Meanwhile, ByteDance is still in talks with major American technology companies. Big names like Oracle, Amazon, Apple, and Google have been mentioned as potential partners or buyers. A partnership could involve an American company managing the US user data and overseeing the app's security. This would add a layer of trust for American regulators. However, finding a partner who is willing to navigate the complex technical and political landscape is a challenge in itself, especially with the ongoing uncertainty. The Trump administration's approach of extending the deadline has also created its own set of problems. Some politicians from both parties are not happy with it. For example, Senator Mark Warner has accused the administration of ignoring the law that Congress passed. Others, like Senator Ted Cruz, have warned that there will be consequences if TikTok does not become completely independent of Chinese control. This shows the deep political division over the issue and the immense pressure President Trump is under to find a permanent solution. The debate over TikTok's future highlights a major question in our modern world. How do we balance personal freedom and fun with serious concerns about national security? On one side, you have millions of Americans who see TikTok as a vital platform for expression, community, and even their livelihood. For them, a ban feels like an attack on their culture and their ability to connect. Public opinion has also shifted. A recent survey from the Pew Research Center showed that support for a ban has dropped significantly since 2023. On the other side are the national security experts and politicians who see a genuine threat. They argue that as long as TikTok's parent company is subject to Chinese law, there is a risk that American data could be compromised. Among people who do support a ban, a large majority, about 8 out of 10, say that data security is their main reason. They believe that protecting the country from potential espionage or foreign influence is more important than the entertainment value of a single app. President Trump finds himself in a complicated position. He has personally joined TikTok and values its power to communicate with voters, and he has said he wants to protect the app's popularity. His press secretary, Caroline Levitt, has stated that the administration's goal is to protect user data while keeping the platform alive. This middle ground strategy tries to please everyone, but it also risks satisfying no one. It is a delicate dance between being tough on China and not alienating millions of American voters who love the app. Ultimately, the TikTok saga is about more than just one app. It is about how we will handle technology that crosses international borders in an age of growing distrust between global powers. The final outcome of the M2 project and the ongoing negotiations will set a major precedent for the future of the internet. It will help define the rules for how international tech companies operate in the United States and show us what we, as a society, value most: the free flow of information or the protection of our digital borders.